much, I wouldn't make any money. What about a 15% increase in price? That's about where I was. So if I use Solver, it turns out that the optimal increase in price, if I want to make as much money as possible from the printers, is to raise the price by 7.5%, and that will give me 81,250 units of sales, and I'll make $10,562,000 instead of just the $10 million if I left the price alone. The problem that we see is that we've got complementary products. So if I sell less cake, Fisher, what else do I sell less of?
Ice cream.
I sell less ice cream. And in this case, the ice cream is the ink. So here is now the base case looking at everything all together. And you can see that if I increase the price by 10% on the printer, here's the money that I'm making is $10,500,000 on the printer. But now, because I only sell 10 cartridges per printer, instead of selling 1 million ink cartridges, I now only sell 750,000 ink cartridges. And so I make quite a bit less money on my ink. And so in the end, instead of 25 million, I'm only making 21 million. So it's a huge decrease in my overall profit for the company as a result of only focusing with blinders on one product and not thinking about the impact on the complementary products that I'm selling. So that leads to the question about, well, what else can I do perhaps to be able to make more money? So maybe, Sri, did that answer your question about what else are we caught up? Okay. So that says, well, maybe instead of increasing the price of the printer, let's leave that alone. Let's try increasing the price of the cartridge by 10%, because people are much less willing to change their purchasing habits. That is, we are less elastic with the price of the cartridges. And so if I raise the price by 10%, then I should expect, instead of selling 10 cartridges per printer, I'm now only going to sell 9 cartridges per printer. So that'll be 90,000 units. So maybe I sell a few less, but I make quite a bit more money. And so it looks like I should leave the printer alone and raise the price on the cartridges. I can make $25,750,000 instead of making just the 25 million. So raise the price on the cartridges, and then I could start to think, well, wait a minute, is 10% the right amount? Maybe I should be, in fact, decreasing the price on the printers. This is where people are price sensitive. Why not sell them for a whole lot less? And much like the Xbox and the PlayStation and the Game Boy and all of these video game consoles are often sold at very close to what the cost is, because we expect to make a lot of that profit back when we sell all of the cartridges that come afterwards. So this is the same kind of problem. We're going to consider lowering the price of the printer. So now, instead of $10 million, I'm only going to make $9 million, because by raising the price, or rather by lowering the price by 5%, that means that I make less of a contribution on each, but I sell more units. And then if I raise the price of the cartridges, I can sell almost the same amount that I was selling before. Remember, I was selling initially 1 million cartridges, and here I'll sell 95,000 and change cartridges, and I'll make 26 million. Yeah?
So the cartridges are going to be in the future, right?
Correct.
Which means you have to discount.
You're absolutely right. So to be fair, I have not considered the time value of money in this.
Okay.
Did not. This is very good. This is good. Fisher, give him some ice cream. Good. Yeah. Jack?
Would the changing of the ink change the demand on the printer?
So that's also possible, right? So what we don't include here is we don't have an estimate for a second cross-price elasticity of demand, where people register what the price of the ink is before they make the decision to purchase the printer. And it very well could be, if we wanted to make this problem more complex, we would look at what happens by raising the price of the ink. Maybe I sell some number of fewer printers. And so we could add that to the problem. And I like that question, Jack and Vinod, I like your addition. This gives me a great idea for an exam question. I don't think that will be an exam, but no, these are very, very good ideas. Okay, so now finally I can start to think about what's the optimal prices for both. Let me just, I'll make this negative point, just so you can see me going through the process here. 0.15. So what I've done, I've got my model is set up. In fact, let's not change the prices at all. Here's my base cases right back in session. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say data analysis, rather not that, I want to say solver. And then I'm maximizing the profit of my model. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm changing what? I'm going to change the percentage of increase or decrease on both the printer and the cartridge. And I'll say solve. And it doesn't like this, and it doesn't like it because I have this little box that says that they unconstrained variables can't be negative. So let's try to get
highlighting G and H.
Oh, did I highlight H as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it, yep. Okay, so I may have ruined everything. Fisher, I need some ice cream back. And then, here we go. Changing which cells, these cells, only the G's. It's not working?
You're picking up.
That's not what I want. This, I want to maximize my profit. I want to do it by changing these values. I want to say solve. Ta-da! There it is. Right. So the maximizing profit by lowering the price of the printer by 12.5%. So look, I'm making very, very little profit on the printers at all, but I'm going to make a huge amount of profit on the cartridges. And I want to point out, one second, Mike. I want to point out, look how many units of cartridges that I expect to produce or to sell is about 1,050,000. And how many units of cartridges I was selling in the base case was about 1 million. So I don't even have to invest in a new factory, even if I'm at capacity, because I'm probably staying right where I was before. And the way in which I'm doing this is I'm just going to sell a whole lot fewer printers, and I expect to make that much more money. And that will also help stave the competition, because now it's more likely that I'm going to sell printers to the customers rather than the competitors, and once people are locked into my network, then they're going to continue to buy that from me. Okay, and yes?
How come you don't do it, because that's what I did, right? So I did the solver, give me the maximum expected profit for the printer, change price percentage, and you did the same for the cartridge, and then I got a different result than yours.
Did you get more profit than I did? Let's try it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so, not to be flippant, but my goal is to try to maximize what my profit is.
Total combined profit.
The total, profit for the company. And that's the sort of the biggest takeaway from the set of problems that we're working on is we can talk about how to go about maximizing the profit using some of these economic models that we've been working on initially when we did the price of the cruise and when we did that puzzle game. And we know something about what the demand curve looks like, and then we're going to find the place that the profit curve as that curve linear function to it, and then we're going to find that maximum point on that profit curve, and we're going to set the price there to be able to bring the most profit into the company. And that makes perfect sense if we're only focusing on that one product. But as soon as we recognize that the sales of one of my products might influence the sales of other of my products, then I want to start to think about setting my prices simultaneously to maximize the overall profit for the firm. And we just saw in two different examples, in the example with the substitute products, the gasoline, if they don't buy one, they don't buy the other, that I want to be thoughtful about setting those prices at the same time. And again, here, when I've got my complementary products, the same thing is true. Does that make sense, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah, got that? Okay, good. Anybody have any questions about this?
And it's only if you uncheck that one box there, right, where you allow negatives.
Oh, yeah, but, and that's just because, otherwise I would be saying, make this positive. And there are reasons why I might do that in other situations, just not in this situation. Okay. So I'm at a crossroads at the moment. It is 5:11. And we didn't take a break. So, we're gonna have a break between now and 5